Hi, I'm Neville Martin.
I'm Richard Barrett.
Welcome to the Guitarist Tone Lounge. Today in the Tone Lounge we've got a rather interesting pedal to show you. This is from Walrus pedals in Oklahoma, USA. And this is the MAKO Series D1 digital delay pedal. It's a great pedal. What they've wanted to do was design a pedal that's simple to use, all the usual things that you expect, but they've got some nice little tweaks and twists that they've put in themselves that make it a very, very usable pedal, both in the studio and live.
Yes, I like the fact that any type of delay that you've ever dreamed up, and a few that you may not have done, it's possible to get those and edit parameters in here.
Yeah.
Modulated delays, reverse delays, and...
Exactly. So along the top here, you've got the three kind of controls that you'd find on pretty much any normal delay pedal. You've got your time, you've got your repeats, and you've got your mix. Obviously, your mix brings in the amount of the effect compared to the original signal that you put in. The repeats is the number of repeats, obviously, and the time is the amount of shortness or length. It goes from, I think, 60 milliseconds, which is very hard slap, back up to 2 seconds. So it's pretty broad in its appeal. And then the three controls in the middle, they start to get a bit more clever.
Yes, in the middle here, on the bottom row, you've got a 5-position dial that takes you all the way from digital through to modulated, which is very memory man, like the Edge, Eric Johnson. It's like a chorus that is only applied to the repeats. Then vintage, which is a bit warmer sounding. And we just, dual, which is great in the stereo, and this is true stereo with 2 ins and 2 outs, so you can set up multi-taps between 2 amps and make yourself dizzy doing so. And then reverse, which, if anything's a novelty feature, in my opinion, it's probably that. But it does really work. You can, if you sort of learn how to fly that feature, we've got some pretty good sounds, don't we?
It's perhaps one of those things that you might use in the studio more than live, but a lot of people are pretty bright when it comes to using pedals live these days.
Someone's going to come up with something, going, oh yeah, it's this thing, and then everyone will want one.
Exactly. The attack control is interesting. What do you make of the attack control?
I like it actually, because sometimes I know that you probably feel the same in a band mix. I love my reverbs and everything, but in with a band, it's just that kind of subtlety gets lost, or your sound sounds really distant. So I find I tend to rely on delays for ambience, and what this does, by reducing the attack of just the delayed portion, then you've got a hybrid of reverb and delay.
That's nice.
Which I really like, especially combined with a bit of the modulation as well.
Yeah. On the 3 MIDI switches here, again, this one, the tweak switch, has got modulation, tone, and age. What do you reckon? What are they?
Yes, well, for the modulation, that is, you can either double modulate it, I guess, if you put it on the modulated setting, but you can add modulation to any delay. So it's not a rate and depth type deal. No. It's a bit like the original Boss Chorus. It's just like, how much modulation do you want?
And this control here, the tweak rotary control, gives the level of that.
They'll do that, or you can put the switch into the middle where it's a tone control, very much like a tone control on a guitar. It's just a roll off, so you can go a bit more analog. And the age one is interesting because I didn't realise it first, but it's at the bottom reaches of the dial, it's a bit more like a tape delay, sort of saturated, and then at the top it really is like a bit crusher. We agreed, didn't we? It just
really crunches your sound right down. But as Richard said, just down the bottom end, the repeats start to just slightly distort, as they would have done on an old analog echo or a tape echo perhaps. So that's nice. In the middle one of these 3, these are as A, B and C. There are 9 presets on this, and if you use the MIDI option you can get up to 128 presets, but we haven't got MIDI today here, so we've just got the 9 presets. There's 3 on that, 3 on on A rather, 3 on B and 3 on C, and you basically press these 2 pedals together, which shifts along to the next one in each band, and they're coloured from red to green to blue, so you know where you are all the time. And then the last one, Richard?
Oh yes, so especially if you are using MIDI or synchronising up to tempos, you can choose whether it's a straight quarter note pulse or halve that to your quavers, or then go to a dotted eighth note, which is, again, I think very much the edge type of thing.
Yeah.
But those are really easily accessible at the flick of a switch if you're timed to a MIDI clock.
Yeah.
So
So
it's quite handy.
It's we've been, as I say, we've been playing with this for a couple of hours now, and the overall thing we notice, it's very, very clean and very studio-like, isn't it?
Yes.
And we've got it into the loop of this Victory V30, and these other pedals, I've got these two into the loop of this Marshall Silver Jubilee combo, and Richard's also got a phaser connected to his as well, which we won't be using very much of, but they'll just be there for a bit of extra colour.
Yes.
Should we do some playing?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Cool. It's interesting.
Interesting, the sound you heard at the end was on this reverb, which we're not really talking about, but it's here. There's a lovely little button called sustain. If you leave that on, it just leaves that ringing on infinitely. It's absolutely amazing. And you've got a similar thing on there, haven't you?
I was actually going to do that. I said, oh yeah, I'll do that when we finish playing, and then I didn't.
Yeah.
If you hold the bypass button down, it's quite nice. It's momentary. Then you take your foot off it.
Yes, exactly. Yes, so you wouldn't bend down on the floor and do that, would you? Probably.
Well, I mean, not unless I brought my lighter fluid as well. But, yeah, it's, I quite like the idea of being able to decide to. I might feel like doing a big chord and then holding it, so it becomes an expressive tool, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, it's a nice when you get a pedal. You often think of pedals as being they do it and you press it on and you press it off. But
yeah.
When they're a bit more interactive like this, it's rather interesting, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, I think there's a it's necessary to invest a little bit of time into this, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's not just going, well, it will sound great when you plug it in, but you'll probably feel a little bit like, oh, how does this work for a few minutes? But it actually is quite sensitive to adjustment. There's an awful lot of possibility in there.
And all of these things, we've said it before with products that are very, very deep, you find out the level of depth that you want to go for your knowledge, your abilities, and the music that you play, and you know, whether you're playing live or in the studio. I mean, we said earlier we found a couple of sounds on there that you said, well, I'd never use that live, but you might well use it in the studio.
Yes.
You know, just one little sound on one little track, and that's a great thing.
And there's always just someone that's going to come out and maybe use a ring modulated delay or something. You go, well, that's actually really effective, and then you sort of realise that maybe we would have done if we'd have thought of it. But
quite. Well, shall we check out some of the presets and some of the sound that you get from this thing?
Glasses back on. Where shall we start?
At the top, we're set everything at 12 o'clock. So what do we start with? Some of those?
Yeah, I mean, well, perhaps I'll bring the time down and demonstrate what that's like at that. And then probably a little bit more subtle. There is a real depth to the effect. I don't know how it comes across to people listening afterwards, but certainly here in the room with it. You can obviously use the tap tempo button as well, and that function can also be. So at the moment, that's just set for quarter note, so you get exactly what you tap in. Yeah. and the repeats go up till it's almost infinite and kind of feeding back on itself. One thing that I might as well demonstrate that. Actually, the nice thing is you can just jump straight to that effect, can't you, by holding the button down, which is great. So yes, you don't have to be on your knees. And then the mix button actually goes to 100% effect rather than a blend. So certainly for some of the wackier effects, that's quite handy.
Yeah. Try to play a few things and I'll sweep it round from.
So it's a nice musical sounding unit.
There's a hell of a lot of power on this control, isn't there?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can really get the delays loud in the original signal if you want them to be that well heard, and you can also tweak the brightness of them. So I was thinking maybe it might be an idea if I try and demonstrate that. It's set to vintage at the moment, and I've if I set the tweak to tone and just try maxing that just to see what. Okay, yeah. So it's brighter and it's got a kind of low cut, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That's taken on quite a boxy quality, hasn't it? I might just shorten it. Not that much.
It's nice.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's a kind of almost like a lo-fi garage rock kind of thing.
Yes.
Like,
In fact, let's try that.
My Sharona or something, like a bit dirty.
This is on the age mode, so I'm just bringing up the tweak to basically demonstrate what it does. But
want me to do that? It does go quite dirty, doesn't it? The repeats. I like that. I really like
absolutely.
That sound,
So that's another flavour, and of course, I suppose it might be good to demonstrate the mod. There's a tiny, tiny bit on there already. I'm a big fan of that type of effect, but the difficulty I always find is that you don't want it too subtle, otherwise you might as well not bother, but then if it goes too pitchy, but this does.
You always find with things like that in a band, you need a little bit more than you probably would if you sat here.
Yeah, I
but
found
then, as
that.
you say, you go too far and everything's lost because it becomes a mush. We're on about 3/4 there.
So you sort of
That's
hear it's going
detuning quite a lot
over
now, isn't it? Yeah, so that's you'd find somewhere to use that perhaps in the studio, but we're about halfway probably.
depends on the track, because I found with things like that, if there's a bit of mod on it and you just keep the chords ringing, the problem being, well, that's not too bad actually. I want it to be secret. I don't want people to hear that it's wobbling up and down.
No, exactly.
And even in mono, that I always feel gives a great illusion of space.
I mean, we've just messing around with this. We've gone from Scotty Moore slapback. We've gone a bit of Andy Summers, Police chorus and echo. We had some Brian May earlier on. I'm sure we can get the Albert Lee.
Oh yes,
doubling up.
We can at least get the echo this time.
So if you want to get all your favourite and you too, of course, the Edge, you can get all of these sounds on this. But what's great about all these things that are unique to Walrus is you can do way more than that, way more than emulation.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm wondering whether I should try and sort of play through the different modes of delay to show the basic difference.
Yeah, then maybe check out some of the presets and maybe make a preset of our own.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, with that, that's really thick and dark, isn't it? Wow. Bizarre. That has that more ring modulation thing that we were talking about, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's proper bit crusher type.
It works in that scenario very well.
It's a bit synthy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, what if I just then turn it straight up to mod, right? I'm sure that'd be massive in stereo as well.
Yeah. Take the time off back slow.
It's warping my sense of reality. Anything distorted yet? But
No.
That works nicely.
It does.
What's next on the dial?
Next on the dial is, I can't see it from there.
That's dual. Okay,
yeah.
so we are mono, but that sounds like a short and a long combined to me. And there's a bit of modulation still going from somewhere as well, isn't there? So there are quite a lot of things to learn how to fly with it, but if there's an effect you can imagine, then this can do it, I would have said.
Yeah, and I think you'd probably think of it in a couple of ways. You might think, if I were using it live, there's the 9 presets already in it, which you'd probably like some and keep.
Yep.
You might overwrite some of those with some of your own preferred ones, and then there's another way you'd use it. You use it in the studio, and you just literally find the sounds that you want.
Yes.
You know, specifically playing with the various controls and switches to come up with what you want in that moment. But as a live tool, the 9 presets is probably enough for any guitarist.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And I'm not very expert at this, so people might write in and correct me, but perhaps there'd be a possibility of connecting more switchability via MIDI so that you could access the presets on the fly.
You can do that. And some people will do that. You know, some of the people who've got very sophisticated boards, they've got MIDI on their boards, and that, you know, you can bring all of these things to bear on a pedal like this. Because we're looking at it in fairly caveman mode here.
Well, I was going to say, the way that I tend to run my pedal boards is if I wanted a couple of different settings, I'd buy 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly. I've done that myself. Yeah. Yes, but that dual mode is quite nice because you can kind of sort of simulate the old tape echo where the tape was running round 4 or 5 heads
on the different heads, yeah.
And you'd pick your note, and you never quite knew when the repeats would happen in what order. You think of things like Apache by the Shadows or the Ventures. Yeah. You've got that very random effect that you can't really recreate, and that's quite nice if you want to get those kinds of sounds. What about the attack? What are we going to do? How does the attack?
So as it, in fact, I think what the delay might be on reverse mode anyway.
Oh yeah, okay,
so
all right.
It might be with the. It removes the attack from the delayed signal only. Perhaps we should put it on vintage or something.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so that's mellowed out the attack, but I think all the way up it takes the attack away completely. So it becomes more reverb-like, but without the tail and the mess.
That's nice, that's nice. Should we see if we can get some sounds that are a bit like the players I mentioned? Should we see if we can do an Edge and do an Albert and do a Brian, etc.?
Great, yeah.
Might be quite nice, mightn't it? I'll let you do the tweaking.
Right, okay. So,
yeah.
Right, okay.
And then can you get the mating call of the Wandering Albatross, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to take a few minutes. Lots of programming, lots of very difficult programming. But so if we were looking at the Edge, then I'm thinking that's around about, probably round about there, about 400-ish. I think I might like to go with, no, not that one, I'll go with vintage, and I'll add some mod. Take the tack off. Right, clean this up a bit. Does give that big sort of landscape, doesn't it?
Okay, what about a bit of, what do you reckon now? Brian? Brian May, Queen?
Right, yes, so what would you say? Should we go
Well,
vintage?
he's going to be vintage, isn't he? Because he's using the...
age...
Yeah.
What's this? Right. Needs to be longer.
Really,
Oh, I'll go on to quarter note again, and that means. I need to time it better, don't I? So that's quite crunchy and lo-fi.
Yeah.
Though I'm sure we could. And of course, some of these parameters affect the mix level that you want as well.
Yeah,
so something with a really pokey sort of mid like that.
Yeah, that's lovely actually. That's really nice. Nice sound. Okay, who else did we say? What about some Scotty Moore? What about some kind of slapbacky Elvis kind of?
So I suppose we might be able to stay with this kind of delay voice, but if we were to lose a few repeats and go down. That's a bit too subtle, isn't it?
Yeah. There's still some modulation on that, isn't there?
There is actually. I think it must be in the preset.
Okay.
Because I'm certainly feeling that maybe we should try a different preset.
Yeah, probably.
Green.
Still got a bit of delay.
Let's. Right. Let's get rid of that.
Okay, good.
Wow. I always think there's something about the lots of repeats, lots of really short repeats. There's that kind of karaoke vocal
It is.
sound.
It is. Yeah.
Maybe a bit shorter. And what would you do to end it?
Lovely. Yeah, that's kind of country meets Elvis, really, isn't it? Kind of,
I suppose so. Yeah,
yeah,
best I
it's
could
nice
do
though.
it.
It's nice. A bit kind of Johnny Cash as well.
Yes,
that kind of a bit Brian Setzer as well.
Oh yeah, fabulous
There's
player.
so much great stuff in it. Should we do one more? What about Summing Shadows?
Oh, lovely.
Marvin-y.
Yes, yeah. I definitely feel that we should bring in a little bit of mod for that.
Yeah.
If we go vintage, I'll lengthen it. Oh, actually, perhaps we should use the multi-tap, the...
yeah.
What do
Dual.
they call it? The dual, thank you. So, I should perhaps point out that when you do a tweak, you can click it over to mod and click your mod, and it will stay that way while you go over to tone and age, which is a really nice feature.
Given that took all of about 8 seconds to find that sound,
yes.
If we spent more time, we could really home in on these sounds and get them dead right.
Pretty honest about this. Yes, we haven't rehearsed anything. So yes.
What about you've got some nice overdrive on the Victory amp?
Oh yes.
And we're in the effects loop, so we can actually put a lot of drive on there. Why don't we get a nice stadium rock kind of?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Who would be like? Satriani or Lukather or something like that, yeah.
So I'm thinking if I take the mod off, maybe go with a digital delay. I'll keep the attack up to the maximum. Right, okay, I've got the kind of ring mod thing happening there that I don't want. What if I were to... Right. Clear. inappropriate, but fun.
But perfect. Perfect. That was really nice. I like that sound. I like that sound
So
very much.
it is a really nice digital. It's hard to put across in words, but this is a serious pedal.
It is. I mean, it's studio quality. There's no doubt about it. Okay, let's create a couple of presets and save them, shall we?
Right.
Why don't we fill one bank of 3 up?
Okay.
So we'll do 3 generic things that you might use in a top 40 band or an average rock or pop band or something, shall we?
Right. Well,
What do you reckon? Go back
one
to...
that I would want in there if I were to have this on my own board is a short, maybe 1 or 2 repeats. Not unlike the Scotty Moore thing, I suppose, but probably less consciously sort of retro. So I'm just thinking if I were to go vintage. Let's have a. It's the kind of delay that you don't really notice too much.
Yeah. But it works with clean or quite bluesy distortion and rock distortion. It's a really nice sound, actually, isn't it?
I really like it, and it seems to push the sound forward a bit in the mix and thicken it slightly.
Yeah.
I might go with aged.
Okay.
Can never decide. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I mean, and it's again, we were talking about this earlier. I probably wouldn't have it very subtle. I want it to be heard.
Yeah.
So what I might choose sat here with you now is probably not like it would be. I'd probably make it louder.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm thinking that that's a workhorse.
Absolutely. In a live situation, you wouldn't really hear the echo. You could hear the echo here, but live you just, that's a really nice ambient sound.
It feels like it's more important when you hit the button.
Exactly. I mean, a nice echo always adds a bit of class to a sound, as does a nice reverb.
Yes.
Okay. So are we going to save that?
Save that, I believe, is until everything blinks.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll just double check. Okay.
Okay.
So
so now we move. Well, let's move to the next preset, which is
green.
That.
Okay.
And we'll change this preset to our liking.
Another one that I always like to have is a slightly modulated, longer one, about 400.
Yeah.
So perhaps should I go for digital? I quite like the clear. Oh, I'll put my guitar.
So that's got to be about 400, is it? Around about there?
Yeah, I think, or it might be. Don't know. That's a guess. Sometimes it's necessary to take the knobs up and down just to sort of wake them up out of their preset state. And maybe. Yeah, and mod.
Yeah.
You can sort of hear. I might have gone a little bit chorusy.
Yeah.
And maybe still a bit. It's that line that we were talking about crossing earlier.
Yeah.
About 5 or 6 repeats seems to work quite well with that.
It's nice.
And it's even good for. I just think of it as a deluxe button.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and if you're playing heavy rhythm, it almost sounds like 2 guitarists are playing it, like you've double tracked yourself already.
Yes, yeah, for held chords and things. Yeah.
All right, shall I save that then?
Great.
Okay, we now have 2. I'll go on to the blue one. This is the third one.
I'm not sure what we should do. Something wacky.
what would you use that's wacky out of here?
I might go for something with a lot of repeats. I find those kind of things are good for if you want to do volume swells.
Yeah. Okay.
So perhaps something.
Or even one of those big ethereal things where you get that lovely.
Oh yes, yeah.
Could try one of those, couldn't we? Because this has got that lovely sound.
Right. And take the attack down. Actually,
yeah.
I've forgotten that we have that.
That's lovely already.
Yeah. I mean, maybe longer sort of. Yeah, where the delay is much more of an effect, more than an enhancement. Is that holding the?
See that one?
I think it's both at once to save the.
No, it wasn't to save it, to get the.
Oh yeah, no, you were doing the right thing actually.
Okay, yeah.
It's hard to tell actually.
Yeah, but it's already got a long tail. Oh, should we save that then?
Right.
Okay. So we've created and saved 3 presets in Bank A. Remember, there are 6 further ones that we could have done, but we don't have time to do that today. But it's very easy to do, very intuitive. This is a very interesting pedal because it's almost on 2 levels. There's a simple level on which you can use it. Then you can go in quite a lot deeper.
Yes. Yeah, and I can see why they're saying studio quality as well, and you really could take that into the studio, and I would dare say not even use as a guitar pedal, but an outboard effects unit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, musicians other than guitarists would have a great time with this pedal as well. Okay, one thing we haven't done MIDI because we don't have that facility here today, but we do have 2 amps, so I think we're going to have a quick go. We won't go mad with it, but we'll just show how you can use this thing in stereo because we've got the 2 amps. Let's do that then, shall we?
Right. So there are a few ways you can configure this. What we have done is we've taken a mono source and stereoized it. So I had it in the effects loop of this Victory 30 and I've kept it there, but now have taken an extra lead from the right output going into the effects return of the Marshall Jubilee. So that's become a slave amp. I'm just using the power amp of that amplifier. So the Victory is providing the preamp and the tone, and the Marshall is amplifying it. So essentially I've now got a stereo rig using the effects loop. So I should perhaps demonstrate that. Probably be good to be wearing headphones
yes.
for this. Let's brighten up that.
That's amazing. That's really, really good.
It is a PA guy's nightmare, isn't it, when you turn up with a rig like this and say, yes, I definitely need it panned hard left and right.
Absolutely. Let's do one more sound.
Right.
What about a nice ethereal, chorusy delay that's, you know.
Right, in which case... I'm going to take off that ring mod. And then I'm going to put some
where's your beanie hat?
Oh yeah, oh, I left it in the car.
Okay. That sounded great, really nice. So we just used 2 different sounds there. It did sound amazing in the room. I hope you can get what it sounded like there. That was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's really quite some pedal. It's one of those where to play through it, certainly, and having had various units over the years, and I've liked them all, but this is a great unit, no doubt about it.
What I like about it, being a bit of a kind of technophobe to a degree, is it's not a menu-driven thing. There's no windows on there. There's no LEDs. There's no LCDs. It's a simple thing. It's a bit of a guitaristic thing. It's what we're used to doing. It's a little box with knobs on it and switches, and we kind of understand that.
Yes, I feel comfortable with the tactile nature of flicking the 3-position switch or turning the knob, and things like tap tempo, of course. It's
really nicely made. It's very, very neat and tidy. Solid metal case. Looks like it's bead blasted. It's very, very nice in a kind of silver grey kind of colour. A classy object, really.
Yes, and it's selling for around about 275, 279, I believe. It's streets at that. Can I say that?
Yeah, and that's UK money, of course. We're talking. That's about it. We've really enjoyed doing this one, and we'll see you next time, won't we?
See you next time. Yeah.
Cheers. Bye bye.